Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coin and Key Collective. And we have a special guest today, Crypto Kong.
What's going on,
Kong,
guys?
how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good, good. I'm happy to have you on. Been watching your videos, and your videos are very content rich. And when saw the first one, I was like, this guy and me think like very much alike because you're like all into analyzing the numbers and using the spreadsheets. I've been doing that since like January myself, um,
Right.
all connected with ICOSA. ICOSA is the reason I got into learning spreadsheets. And you're like doing the same thing. I'm like, he and I need to connect.
Yeah.
so so here we are. I'm happy to have you on. Now, as
I'm
you all
happy to be
know,
on. Thank you.
yeah, cool. So as you all know, I've been saying that the show, I didn't intend it this way, but I am a licensed real estate agent, and I have a business partner who's also licensed. She's active in the real estate industry. I'm just licensed, basically. But I'm heavily involved in crypto, and so I thought I'd take the show in a different kind of a 50-50 split direction, if you will, crypto and real estate. Why? Because crypto people may be looking for a place to store some of their wealth where it can grow in a more stable asset also. And then real estate people may want to know about what's coming, or what's already here, crypto assets. And what's coming is a disruption to their industry. It's not going to happen today, but in time, the real estate industry is going to be disrupted by the blockchain. So that's the purpose of the show. And so, first interview, welcome Kong. You're the crypto. So we're cutting our teeth on the crypto with a crypto interview with Kong. So let's see. Give me just a second. My co-host, you see in the description, is going to be on. I'm reading. Sorry, I'm reading some of her messages. Yeah, she's going to be a little late. So she's dropping off her kids. So she's never stood me up, and I know she's going to jump on here as soon as she's ready, and we will just go on until she jumps in. Okay, Crypto Kong. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, like your background, if you would, in crypto.
So yeah, I kind of just got started in crypto like anyone else. Like you kind of just get into Bitcoin and Ethereum, like maybe some Dogecoin, maybe Shiba if you're lucky. But yeah, I kind of just started. I kind of
Shiba,
got
if you're
in.
lucky. I caught that.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of just got into all like the basic, like the most commonly Googled coins. Like I did like the most basic level of research. Like I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention. And
Okay.
then I kind of saw like the bull market coming around because during 2017 as well, it was actually a funny story. I had someone someone come down to the house and they were doing, I think it was some sort of appraisal or some sort of something for the house, and he was talking about Bitcoin, and he was talking like this was during the 2017 top, and he was just kind of like hyping it up, saying like, yeah, this is a new best thing, like you guys should get in on it, like this and that. I didn't really like pay too much attention to it at that time. Like I always kind of had the thought of like Bitcoin is pretty cool, but I didn't know how to buy it, didn't know how to like do anything with it, nothing like that. So eventually like the bull market came around, I kind of saw like all of the potential, all like the coins kind of like appreciated, and that kind of like got me researching it more and more and more. I kind of like went through one rabbit hole into the next rabbit hole into the next rabbit hole. I discovered Richard Hart, and then I didn't know that he even invented a hex coin at this point. I just kind of discovered Richard Hart. So I was watching a lot of his stuff because like Richard Hart's usually right. Like especially watching some of his old videos from maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, you see some of the stuff he's saying, and now it's completely relevant still. Like it's almost like he could see the future, right? So watching a lot of Richard Hart, I kind of got into Hex, like figured out what the T share was, figured out like all of like the complex Hex stuff, like kind of completed it. But my issue was I didn't study hex as much as I should have. Like when building my strategy out, I could have probably extracted more value if I paid more attention or if I did more research. So what I did when I discovered ICOSA, what kind of got me where I am today, is I was just looking for a way to, from the very start, of how to extract maximum value through like staking, through whichever method possible, on ICOSA, and that's sort of like where I'm at right now, is like trying to extract max value possible wherever I can.
Right on. So I was reading the comments a little bit while when you were getting started. So did you get your entry into crypto in 2017?
So I kind of got a little like introduction, but I never really like got like super into crypto by then.
Okay.
But there was an ATM. It was near one of my old schools. This was probably like 2018 or something. I think I had like I think I went and I got a little bit of Bitcoin, but I've no idea where that where those keys are at this point. So
So you got Bitcoin off of an ATM?
yeah, there's a bunch of ATMs around here. So
Okay. I've never seen one of those. I've heard of them. I know Randy uses an ATM in Panama, but
yeah,
yeah, that's something that's already here. Wow.
yeah.
Cool. Well, so what's your what's your gut like say about where we are at in the market right now? I mean, when you look at the charts, everything ain't doing too good. Like it's a bloodbath. But what are your thoughts on that?
So I just think that this is just like buying opportunities, right? Like whenever I was looking at Hex before, when it had that like 1.8 cent, 1.6 cent bottom, like it seemed like it was super low, but now that we have we're at under a cent now, like if you're looking to pick up some Hex, like now is where you're going to make the maximum returns. What I also think is with this whole Godwill E Hex P Hex situation is I think that either Godwill's like dumb. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't really think that that's the case. I think that maybe
Yeah.
there's something going on behind the scenes. He's trying to maybe shake some people out the market, generate some FUD. I think the Bank X people haven't even sold yet. I believe. I'm not exactly sure, or maybe they only sold a little bit. Not 100% sure on that, but I think that I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people trying to FUD people out of their bags and buy back two or three times lower. So I think just like continuing DCAing, just like buying when the price is down is what you want to do, right? So I think that this is a perfect opportunity for a lot of people here to get Hex under cent.
Right. Agreed. My understanding is like the Bank X people sold a portion of that hex that Godwell sacrificed to their project. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't believe he's a dummy. Um, but nobody's not susceptible to making a mistake,
Right. It
right?
could, yeah, you could have like fat fingered something, but uh who knows, right? Even all the FUD and stuff, I would not be surprised if there's some people trying to buy back their bags lower here. So like I wouldn't like capitulate this bottom here, right? Like I wouldn't go ahead and like dump everything, but uh if I was to recommend like some sort of DCA strategy, like if you're scared of EHEX or something like that, just like I would recommend, like, not financial advice, maybe having like a 10%, like if you're DCAing, have 10% of that into EHEX at least, I would say, but have your strategy pick up coins that you don't have. Most of us already have EHEX since it's been out for 4 years. So if you don't have any Pulse or PulseX, then maybe like those coins are at under sack right now, so those aren't a bad
Hmm.
buy.
Yeah. And there's some other startup projects too that I'm pretty bullish on, excited about. 9 inch being one, which is going to be not an exchange, but a swapping platform like PulseX, but for meme coins. And there's a sacrifice phase for that one right now. And then Tetra, which I think all of us are going to end up using. I don't know if you did you see the stream the other day on Lit's channel about Tetra?
I did not see that stream.
Or you should have a look at that one. Just look up his YouTube Lit. I think oh, My Life is Awesome, I think
Yeah.
is the channel name. And and there were like 5 or 6 people on there, and they're all just lit up about Tetra. And I think all of us, and you're like a multi-staker kind of guy like myself, and that Tetra is like right up our alley. And it's going to be, you'll see if you watch that stream, that Tetra is going to be useful for so many things. And they're switching it's a coin also, and they're switching it from the Ethereum network over to the Pulse network like sometime soon. The founder's trying to time the bottom of the market.
I see.
But I mean, you could buy a dolphin, literally buy a dolphin position in Tetra for I think under $500.
Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a buying a position is an idea that I got from Crypto Sloth. Like, because I could probably essentially never buy a dolphin position in Hex, but I can buy positions in some startup coins, and I
Right.
have, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm not I'm not really down on the Hex side, the eHex side. I think there's still a lot of potential with Ethereum Hex. I think that the whales have an interest. There are people with 15, 14, 13 years left on their stakes. And I got stakes over there, and people have an interest. And I was listening to a stream the other day, and if you look at the prices, let's say ehex is here and phex is here. And ehex is like, let's call it half a cent. Phex is 1 cent. Well, as let's say they maintain that level of parity, and now as phex goes up to 5 cents, 10 cents, $1, $5, where's ehex? Right there. So when phex is at $5, ehex will be at 3.50, $3.50, something like that. That's what could happen, going into the future.
So yeah, I was thinking that exact same thing. Like,
Mm,
if the ratio stabilizes and finds some sort of like stable ratio, whether it's like 1 to 2, 1 to 1.5, whatever it is, whether you buy ehex or phex, if that ratio stays the same, you're making the same U.S. dollar appreciation, right? It's just like one hex on paper looks like it's worth less than the other one, but if that ratio between ehex phex stays the same, if phex does a 50x, ehex does a 50x, and then on top of that, one thing, ehex is going to start yielding more, and this is already starting to happen, and this is going to start to happen more and
mm,
more and more. So what's happening right now is the data points aren't online right now, but I'm gonna figure out how to get them. Essentially, there's more T shares in existence on the Pulse chain network than on the Ethereum network. So what that means is when you're having hex paid out per day, on the Pulse chain side, it's getting paid out to more T shares than the Ethereum side. So let's
mm.
say you had 80 million hex or 60 million hex payout per day, and that has to get distributed to 10 million T shares on the Pulse side. Each of those T shares are going to get slightly less yield than if that same amount of hex payout gets only distributed to 9 million T shares. And that's what's happening now is there's becoming a slight disconnect in the circulating supply of T shares on Ethereum and Pulse chain.
Right.
And Ethereum T shares are becoming extremely deflationary right now, whereas there's a lot of people going in there and creating lots of T shares on the Pulse chain. So they're inflating a little bit. So that's gonna, I think, on a long enough time frame, and we've seen a lot of people ESing Ethereum stakes. I don't think it's that many people. Like I was talking to Crispy Man, it's not that many people ESing, but
Huh.
yeah, it's enough where like if it's enough where it makes a little difference in the total shares on the chain. So I think
Sure.
that within like so unless I think that as well as the share rate's going to start to ratchet up on Ethereum more, but they're
Mm,
most likely going to stay relatively the same unless someone on Ethereum or Pulse Chain decides to EES a bunch of their stakes. Then you're going to start to see the share rate on one chain really deviate from the other. But my sort of speculation, my hypothesis is right now, if you were to stake Hex on Pulse Chain and Hex on Ethereum, your Hex on Ethereum is going to yield way more, especially over time. just because there's less T shares in existence on Ethereum right now, and it's probably going to
Interesting.
continue to become more deflationary.
Interesting. Yeah, there is a growing difference between the share rate on Ethereum and Pulse. And I was just looking at the Hex Daily stats. It's not much now, but um, yeah, I think it's going to grow. Um, Interesting. Are you still bullish on making? This is a silly question. Are you still making 90-day ICOSA stakes? Oh,
Yeah.
let's answer this question first, if you don't mind. Let me answer it. So John Pulse Hex asks, would EICOSA be the play in 2023 due to the juicy price entry? And go and I welcome your comments on it. But what I would say is, and none of this is financial advice, but what I'm doing is I'm buying whatever's on sale because I believe in all these products. I think there's so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt right now. So much volatility. We're only 1 month into Pulse Chain, and and I would just buy what's on sale and stake it if it's ICOSA. You know what I'm saying? Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, so I know right now ICOSA on Ethereum is yielding more per endpoint for the past couple weeks and
Hmm,
more per dollar. So if you wanted to pick up some, it is the cheaper coin and you are yielding more. So if it decides to like hover, if it stays at that 1 to 2 ratio between PI COSA, EI COSA, and it remains there, you're still going to make that same price appreciation, right? So if ICOSA goes, PI COSA goes $1, EI COSA goes to 50 cents, like you've still made the same amount of X's, but you've also made more yield on Ethereum ICOSA on top of that. So EI COSA could be the play, but like to take the devil's advocate side, like if EHEX dies, like I don't think it will, but if EHEX dies, EI Cosa is most likely gonna like follow suit with it.
sure.
But that probably won't happen. But it obviously could, right? It's crypto, so
Right. You said that the E ICOSA is yielding more than the P ICOSA
yes.
per endpoint. On a day, is that on a daily?
So on like an average daily, yes. So
Oh, really? Why is that?
so what I think that is what happened was when Pulse Chain came out, someone activated all the backlogs for the HSIs, and
Correct.
then there was no
Yeah.
one bidding against him, so we just got him for super cheap,
Yeah. I
and
remember.
that made the yield like that little like a HSI day there made the yield on Pulse Chain, I guess, look like it was a bit better for a few days there at the beginning. But after those like T shares kind of dried out, I guess there's not a whole lot of T shares on the Pulse chain, and there's still a whole lot of T shares on the Ethereum chain, as well as like there's a lot more Hedron being burnt for those T shares on the
Oh, I
Ethereum
see.
chain. And
Okay.
yeah, it's just more yield right now on the Ethereum chain.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad I haven't made any sudden moves, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't moved anything over. I haven't done anything. I've just left it. Well, and ended I've ended some stakes and restaked them and such, but it's too early. Things are too volatile to make, in my opinion, to make sudden moves like that, like to move everything over to the Pulse side,
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
I wouldn't I wouldn't I'm still gathering the data points to figure out if that's even worth it, because if someone did that, like let's say someone took uh that 2 to 1 trade, so took two EI COSA, swapped them for one PI COSA, thought that the yield was better because they saw that payout for 1 day was like more than Ethereum. And then now like that might not have been the greatest play because you have half as many ICOSAs yielding you not as much as the Ethereum ones would. So I think just like leaving your coins as is, and then if you would like more of something, DCing with that with fresh dollar is could be a play, not financial advice.
Sure. Okay. So John Pulse Hex has another question. He says 90-day stakes used to be 359 at Coast, and now they're 859. They also it used to be like 120.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you there for the Icosa launch?
I was around for the Ecosa launch. Yeah. I wasn't like
Right on.
posting content, but I was behind the scenes like
Okay.
analyzing things. Yeah.
Were you in the Telegram group?
Not very often, but
No.
sometimes I was.
Okay. As Kong?
Not as Kong though. Yeah, no, not
Okay.
as Kong.
Okay. So 90-day stakes used to be 359 in Costa. Now they're 859. Good. I like that. Would it be better to wait to compound higher 90-day stakes? Mm, if you're talking about, John, if you're talking about like saving up your ICOSA until you have more, so you can stake 859 or perhaps more, like put more into one stake. My opinion on that is it kind of depends on how much you have because I mean right now the prices are so low. I mean you wouldn't want to stake 50 ICOSA for 90 days because then you wouldn't even, especially on on the ETH side, because you wouldn't make enough yield to even pay for the gas fees. But if you had 900 ICOSA, that might pencil out perhaps be a wise amount to stake for 90 days. What are your thoughts on that, Kong?
So, what I think is if you're trying to wait for the account size to increase, I would try and get in before that happens. Usually, the
Mm-hmm.
account sizes increase as some of those bigger whale accounts or shark accounts have been getting unlocked recently. So, every 90 days, we usually have an increase of supply that usually or that will increase the account size. But I don't think it would be worth it to wait that long because it's looking like you're gonna have to wait maybe like I don't know when the whales get unlocked the like but I think it's around maybe 50 days from now, 60 days from now ish.
Oh, for the 360-day stakes,
Yeah.
that'd be August. Here, you can just keep chatting. I'll type it into timeanddate.com.
So yeah, I think it is August. So you'd have to wait until August to get like another little supply like minimum account stake length increase for 90 days. And in that time, like a bunch of the yield is like a lot of the yield is basically going to be gone. Like assuming that no t-shares get recycled, all the yield is going to be gone. So I would just try and stake now and then
Yep,
continue to just compound your stuff.
agreed. Yeah, so in 300, the whale stakes, the day one ICOSA whale stakes, are gonna mature on August 10th.
I see.
So, yep. Now is a great time to stake ICOSA and Hedron because the yield is still very good, and you can compound. You can still, one of the things I always say is if you're deciding whether or not to end a stake and compound it and restake it, is take your yield, add it to your principal, divided by the share rate, and if you have more stake points, then it's wise to restake that. And right now, all of my stakes are at any point, if they were to be mature at that moment, at any point, I can take that yield, add it to the principal, and I would end up with more stake points.
Yeah,
So we haven't seen the point yet where it's not equitable to not compound and restake. So, but it's coming, I
it
think.
is. Yeah. I think so too, yeah.
When do you
And then
think that? When do you think that's going to be?
here's the thing. So I'm not exactly too sure because
Yeah.
it's all about share rate increase, and if the share rate outperforms your yield, then compounding becomes ineffective. But the way I was thinking about it is the share rate increase in 90 days isn't obviously going to be as great as a share rate increase in a year. And then your yield
Hmm.
in like these upcoming 90-day time frames are usually like pretty good relative to like I think if you had like a brand new whale account like stake like after that first year ends, let's say he restakes, if he's gonna stake out for a year, I'm gonna think that some of that yield towards the end of the year starts to dry up and just become a little bit less. What that means is like if the share rate starts to ratchetly increase towards the end of the next year and your yield is starting to ratchetly decrease, you're gonna like by the time you want to end your stake and compound, the share rate might have already outperformed your yield just at that last little stage. So I'm not exactly sure when this will come, but I think just doing the 90-day stakes and just keeping on with them are the best ways to keep yourself from getting diluted by the T-share.
Right on. Dude, I'm gonna have to like, so I download a lot of content to my phone and I listen to it while I'm working, driving and stuff. So I have missed so much while you're talking. I'm gonna listen to my own stream. So John wants to know if you're willing, if you want to, if you don't want to, that's fine. But, and you don't have to answer specifically, but do you see the question on your screen?
What is my BP percent
Por-
portfolio
Um,
mix of coins?
BP. I think he just means what's your portfolio mix of coins. But John, what do you mean by BP percent? I don't know what he means, but I think what I got out of that is he wants to know what your portfolio mix of coins is.
So I'll tell you the mix of coins I got. In terms of percents, I might leave that one out. But I got ICOSA, I got PulseX, I got EHEX, I got PHEX, I got PulseX, I got Incentive. I got all the tokens. Like I'll give like a rough idea of like how I'm allocating my resources. Like Pulse, PulseX, Hex, like all of like the blue chips, icosahedron, like those have all kind of like equal greater allocations. Incentive, I have a little bit of a smaller allocation, but still like pretty decent. And then there's probably some other coins I'm forgetting about, but if I am, they probably also have just a smaller allocation in my portfolio.
Right on. Cool. Thanks for answering that. So Christy is in the background. She's in the green room. Christy.
Oh, BP
Stephanie,
is
she's gonna laugh.
Prairie
Yeah.
Banana.
So um, let's let her in, and I'll introduce Stephanie. How you doing?
Good.
Frazzled.
This is Stephanie, not Christy.
Frazzled.
What's going on, Steph?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
How does it feel to be live in front of who knows how many people? Are you good with it?
Oh, yeah. It seems like it's just the three of us.
It does. It's pretty cool. So this is my business partner, Stephanie, and like I've said on the show, like we're going to be introducing crypto people to real estate and real estate people to crypto. And I have been working more so in the crypto side of things. And Stephanie has been crushing it in her real estate business. And so I'm going to bring more of a crypto aspect to the show, and Stephanie is going to bring more of a real estate aspect to the show. So, Stephanie, do you want to take just a second and introduce yourself in like a 1 minute or less?
1 minute or less.
Yeah.
I've been selling real estate here up north for a while, about 7 years now. Dabbled in commercial down in the US and mostly focused on residential up here, and just been crushing some goals and excited to see how things are kind of changing financially and how it'll affect how the real estate market is played with. So, yeah.
Right on. So, just so you know, Stephanie is not a no coiner. She does hold some crypto.
Is it no coiner what you guys call people with no no nothing?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And she is engaged, and
Yep.
she is a talented mixed martial artist. So guys, take note. All right, so we've just been chatting, and there was a little, just so you know, there's a little kerfuffle in how I conveyed the when this stream is going to take place, and so I take all the fault for that. I apologize, Stephanie. I know you would have been right on time because you
On
always
time.
are.
Time zone.
Yes. So
Yeah.
so Kong and I are in the same time zone. Stephanie's an hour behind, and just been chatting about ICOSA, mainly the state of the market and such. So, and Kong just answered this question, and there is a slew of questions through here. Here we go. Let's jump on this one from Red Squirrel. Imagine automating your ICOSA staking strategy. Yeah, this is going to be This is going to be crazy. This is going to be so cool. So, just so you know, for everybody that doesn't hasn't heard about Tetra, there's a guy over. I think he's in Europe. He's developed a protocol that is going to be in just in my words, like a utility for not only us in ICOSA and Hedron and Hex, but everybody in crypto, where you can anytime you do any kind of blockchain interaction using a wallet, hardware wallet or a software wallet, you can pre-program all of those interactions, and you program it in like a they have it like a drag and drop application, or a DApp, whatever it is, and it's gonna be lit. So yeah,
So is that
and
like
right,
self-executing as well?
yes, yep, yep. You can say, okay, I've got this 90-day stake. It matures August 10th. I want to end this stake when the gas fees are in this range, and then I want to take a portion of the yield and I want to send it to my bank account, and you can route it. I think you can route it all the way through to your bank, and I want to take the rest and I want to add it to the principal and stake it, and it will even look at the blockchain and determine what the supply level is for ICOSA, because we know that the ICOSA supply, liquid supply, determines how long you got to stake. So it can do all of that. I've asked the founder in the Telegram group some of these pointed questions, and he's like, "Yep, we can do that. Yep, we can do that." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is going to be so cool." Because you know what a pain in the neck is, especially when you're restaking on the Ethereum network where it's so expensive. You know, it's not uncommon. I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning because that's when the fees are cheap. The gas is cheap. That's doesn't make for a very happy Saturday. you know, so yeah, and red squirrel is going to be all over that. Have you ever seen a red squirrel strategy sheet, Kong?
I don't think I have.
Okay, you should. Yeah,
I
maybe
should
I should
check that
send you
out.
one. Yeah. X Blind is happy to be here. Cool, happy to have you. So what I want to do is, do we talk about making 90-day stakes? Are you still making 90-day stakes?
Yeah, I am exactly.
Me too. Are you? So let me ask you this. Because I have found this to be a problem or a question. When I'm ending a 90-day ICOSA stake, I've got this little amount of head run. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
on the Ethereum side. And I'm like, okay, should I send 50 cents or 20 cents worth of head run to this other wallet? It's going to cost me 60 cents. What are you doing in that instance?
Well, I'm just leaving the Hedron to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the Icosa yield is great. I don't really want to take like maybe that 1 or 2 million Hedron and start yielding with it. It's like it's not worth the gas fees on the Pulse chain. I would probably consolidate that into like one account, maybe stake it, do something with it. I don't know, but on Ethereum, like I just leave them in the accounts, and then maybe by the time the bull market comes around, maybe there's like some free gas fees or some free extra coin in there or something like that. But I'm not really doing anything with the Hedron yield other than just holding it, I guess you could say.
Okay. Are you making any 30-day stakes? Did we lose your audio? He's fixing his audio.
Hello?
Yeah, Kong, can you hear me? Kong, can you hear me?
Looks like the AirPod died.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry about that. Can you repeat that? My headset cut out there.
Sure, no worries. Are you making any 30-day stakes?
So I have a few Hedron 30-day stakes. I don't really talk about them a whole lot just because I think Icosa staking is yielding way more. So, but yeah, I do have like 30-day Hedron stakes separately, but I'm not taking any of my yield and like adding it on top of there.
Okay, got it. Stephanie, you want to take the next question?
Yeah. So what's your exit strategy?
So I'm waiting for 2024, 2025. I'm
Hmm.
probably gonna like take a look at the liquidity as it stands right now. Like if I think I have people even messaging me on the comments like they're having troubles exiting even with like a few $1,000. So just like probably gonna set some liquidity, wait for an permanent loss to take all my coins away. But waiting for the bull market for that. Gonna probably just do all my staking in the meantime. So that's my strategy.
I see. Yeah, I was listening to, who was it yesterday? Jake Sharp, and he seems pretty sharp about, like, technical analysis, like not just TA, but market cycles. And he thinks the bull is gonna is gonna top out tail end of. Well, he thinks Bitcoin is going to top out in November of 24, so that'd be next November, and then Ethereum probably a month after that, and then alts not much longer after that. So, um, that's, and I have it written down. Got to add it to my calendar because I got to make sure, like, when there's a lot of hype in the industry and everybody's like, lots of new people are coming in, and we're going up and to the right. That would be the time to start looking to get out, right? Because I know, like, I bought the top, and I shared crypto with Stephanie, and she also bought the top, and then didn't we didn't see what was coming. Nobody in the Telegram or nobody I was running with was said anything about a market cycle. I was brand new, green, and so the bear market caught me, like, by surprise. It's been good because I've been able to dollar cost average in, but got a dollar cost average out when we get into the next bull. So, yeah. Well, let me share a screen here real quick, and let's talk about Richard Hart's cryptic tweet the other day. People are being funny in the chat. Okay, I'm going to share this entire screen. Did you see this tweet the other day? He says, 1 hex on Pulse chain is worth 1.29 hex on Ethereum. It looks like the market has chosen hex on Pulse chain to be more valuable than hex on Ethereum. The first pick shows hex going up versus ehex. The second pick shows ehex going down versus phex. Did you see that the other day?
I did see that tweet the other day. I think I kind of just like shrugged it off. Like,
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I didn't know what to think. Um, but it's so unlike many of his other tweets that I think there's, like, and we know that RH is very eccentric, and he wouldn't post this um, without a reason. And I don't know what that reason is. And he has said in the past he doesn't want to see cheap hex on any chain. So, and if you look at the wording of it, he says it looks like the market has chosen that. I don't think that he believes what he is saying. I just don't think that he believes that.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, me personally, I don't think that like Pulse chain hex should like necessarily be worth like 1 point however much more. Like 1 to 1 would be ideal. Even like even if it was slightly off 1 to 1, like that can make sense. But we'll see how this plays out. I saw the other Richard Hart tweet where he's talking about token A and then token A plus. You know what you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't. Can you elaborate?
You want to scroll down? It should be somewhere on his page somewhere.
I'm looking for token A. Let me know when you see it.
Try maybe try going scrolling up if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. Let's see, where did we start? Here we started. Okay.
All right. Well, I don't see it on this
Yeah.
page posted, but either way, he was basically saying token. He was talking about token A plus. I assume he was meaning E hex, P hex. He was saying one has higher liquidity, one has lower liquidity. So what that means is like if I were to take, let's say, if I were to dump E hex, right? Let's say I dump $500 of E hex, that might dump the price like it. No, just not for an example, like it won't actually dump the price as much, but just as an example, it might dump the price half a cent. Now, if I take that same $500 I just dumped, that dumped the price half a cent, and I go buy PHEX with it, it might only pump the price 0.2 cents. So now everyone's sort of net poor because EHEX is down 0.5 cents, and then PHEX is only up 0.2 cents, right? But then when you have the vice versa situation where you have higher liquidity on PHEX and someone, let's say, dumps $500 of PHEX, it might only hurt the price 0.2 cents, and then if they were to bridge that over to Ethereum and then buy EHEX or whatever, then it might pump up the EHEX price 0.5 cents, making like everyone a little bit like net richer. But that's how I sort of perceived that tweet. I'm not sure if any of the people in the chat saw like token A plus, but I think that people trying to like make one hex more valuable than the other hex, I think everyone's just gonna end up being more net poor over time. Like especially if one hex goes to zero, I think that's gonna suck for a lot of people.
Okay. Stephanie, you want to take the next question?
Yeah, just shifting a little. Can you talk about some of like your mistakes that you made and then some advice you'd give to newer people kind of venturing out into this world?
So yeah, I think in terms of mistakes, I think it's just I think in crypto you have to be paying attention like pretty much 24/7. So if you kind of like step away for a little bit and then come back later, like you've already missed too much. So I think in terms of me making mistakes, like I think I could have paid way more attention and paid more attention earlier. I think like if I got into the whole ecosystem earlier, that could have been a bit more beneficial for me. But in terms of advice for new people, I think just when people say do your research, I think actually do your research. Like think for yourself, figure out what strategy is going to work best for you. If you hear an influencer say something, don't just take that at face value.
Yeah.
Use it to like base your own opinions, get your own sort of like use their information to like help you derive your own opinions from that. And then like think for yourself. I think that's some good advice for anyone entering this ecosystem, as well as like don't get fudded out through the chart because I know the chart right now looks horrible, but that's just a good buying opportunity, not financial advice. But like you don't get rich or like you don't make those crazy gains buying the top, right? You make them buying the bottom, and buying the bottom is always scary. So
Right. Just so you're not alone in the biggest, mistakes. I made a mistake early on when I was staking hex, in that I like everything to be like neat and organized. And so I didn't know the ramifications of end staking hex. And I ended some stakes that I had like made like 2 or 3 weeks prior just so I could spread them out evenly. And that was a foolish mistake. And then I heard somebody on a stream one time said he didn't get into the Richard Hart ecosystem. He knew about Richard Hart, he knew about Hex, but he didn't get in because he wasn't willing to download and install MetaMask, and he missed the 10,000x. He's in now, but so I'm going to share my screen again. I don't know if anybody has actually made it like public, but did you see Alex McWhirter in the Telegram? You're not in Telegram much, so you wouldn't have seen
I've
him
seen some of
earlier
I see
this
some of the
week.
stuff in the Telegram.
Earlier this week, did you see him in there?
I might have. What was he saying?
Okay, I'll show you. I think you'll find this interesting. So he jumps in there infrequently because he's busy building, and he said he's been working on something. And so I was like, you know what? I think I have enough clout now. I'm just going to go ahead and ask him, what are you building? Does it have any connection with ICOSA? And he says, and this is just can you guys see my screen? No, you can't.
No.
Okay, there you go. I sent it over to cryptographics, and you're gonna have to. I won't be able to give you much context about this, but he says, well, to be clear, I'm working because we know that Alex has been working on some projects, right? He built ICOSA, he built Hedron, and we think that he's trying to enhance those projects, but he's very quiet. He doesn't have his own show. If he had a show, he'd probably have to have somebody prompt him with questions. He's just that quiet. I'm not being unkind. He just wants to be in the background building things, and he gives very limited hints as to what he's working on. But we know he's building on at probably 2, maybe 3 different projects in addition to his data center. So he says, and we know that he was working on a rocket pool fork. So he says, well, to be clear, I'm working on something better than rocket pool. That gives you more control of your own coins. He says, I like rocket pool, but my research has led me to believe it is still too centralized. Oracle DAO in particular, I want separation of node validator. You still run a validator client in my case, but you do not need to sync and run the nodes. And I asked him, I said, so is this a one-off project tied to ICOSA or Hedron? He said, if there is a way to tie the two together meaningfully, maybe. It's just a side project at this point. Something much bigger has my main attention. So that's, I don't know, I found that to be so interesting because Rocket Pool sounds like it's not going to happen unless they become more decentralized. And it leaves me wondering, is he working on something that's going to help ICOSA and Hedron? Not that they need help, but we wouldn't mind like some kind of enhancing tool for those projects. But anyhow, do you have any thoughts on that, Kong?
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, like he said, he can find some sort of meaningful way to incorporate Hedron and Icosa into whatever he's building. I also saw he was talking about like the Watsa marketplace that uses Icosa. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a nice little incentive for people to start like in the future once that's out to start buying Icosa and burning it essentially. But I think that if there's some sort of thing he can do where he incorporates Icosa and maybe someone is going to need to buy that off the market to go ahead and like I think in the rocket pool example like put it up as collateral, like if he could do something like that, that'd be great. But I guess we'll just have to see, right? No profits, no expectations of
Expectations.
profits from
Yeah.
the work of others. So
Exactly. It's like this guy was in a Telegram chat the other day. He's like, um, when are we going to get our 1000X and some token? And I'm like, it's up to you. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I've really been into personal accountability lately. And so it's up to me. You know, we didn't get the 1000X. Should have bought more. I mean, that's an extreme example, but you can kind of get the point. So there was this idea going around about 4 months ago, back in the winter, about like dumping all your Hedron and exchanging it for Icosa. Have you what are your thoughts on that? Have you done that?
I've not done
No.
that. What I've been doing is just buying more Icosa. I haven't been dumping Hedron for it. Now there actually is like the Hedron Icosa pair. It's actually a really good pair to accumulate Icosa with. So I can share my screen if you want.
Sure.
Uh, Here we'll check it out. Where is it? Icosa Hedron. Here I'll share my screen. All right. You can see this guy?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. You might just have to click add to the
Oh,
stream there on StreamYard.
there we go. Yeah.
All right,
All
perfect.
right.
So this is Hedron Icosa. So this is Icosa priced in however many Hedrons it would cost you to buy it. So you can see it sort of has this like oscillation. It comes down between like 200,000 all the way up to 400, 500,000, and it's
Mhm.
been doing this for months now. And it keeps on doing this. So there's actually ways that you can use Hedron and Icosa. Like if you don't necessarily want to stake these coins, but you still want to like make some sort of yield, and you don't care about owning Hedron or Icosa because like you're not yielding with either or, then this could be a way of accumulating, right? Because either way, like if you have Hedron or Icosa, you don't really care. Like you're bullish on both, but in this case, like you can make like I think it's like 20% up, 20% back. Like in this case, 100% up, and then if you sell that, you can go like 40% back down. But I don't recommend trading or anything like that. Like I definitely don't recommend trading, especially with like US dollar pairs. But this sort of stuff, it just sort of like when you're ratio trading between the volatile assets, you just have a little bit more of an advantage because you're not going to be left with a dollar that doesn't move with when or if your asset does start to decide to like run up and like start to do a bunch of X's, right?
Mhm.
Like if you're
Mhm.
trading Hedron Icosa, like if one does a bunch of X's, the other might do less, but it'll still probably follow suit, give or take, right?
Right. So at the beginning of Icosa, I swapped about a quarter of my headroom for Icosa, and I'm happy I did that, and I'm happy I didn't do any more. I've been tempted to swap it all, um, but we've seen headroom run, and I'm just not willing to give it up. So that's my stand on that. That's not financial advice by any means, but would you mind touching on this one if you can, just briefly?
So
You see this?
in terms of TA, uh, I don't I don't really do a whole lot of TA, but like if you're looking at price points, I would say like if you can get incentive under like $12 would be pretty good. Like under $10 would be pretty good. Not financial advice or anything, but even like in terms like TA, it's like not a whole lot of data right now. There is like some decent stuff. I know Hans Hex on Twitter has really good TA stuff. If you want to look at some incentive TA, then you could check his stuff out. But if you're looking just like if you want just like a target to look for to purchase, under 11 buckaroonies is pretty good. Um, but yeah, I'm not really sure about future price points, but it kind of reminds me of Icosa tokenomics in a way.
Okay, right on. Well, let's see what other questions that we got that we can ask. Stephanie, go ahead and jump in if you got anything.
Yeah, I got a couple for you. First, how do you track your assets?
Honestly, I haven't been like paying a whole lot of attention. Sometimes I use like the coin market cap portfolio tracker. I think but you have to go in there and update it, right? But I think like Fiat and Fatty have like a portfolio sort of manager or something like that. But I have like a whole bunch of different wallets. Like I just sort of like think about it, keep track in my head. Like I don't and then like on a spreadsheet and stuff, but that's pretty much all I do.
Interesting. Sorry, you're going to say
Sometimes,
something, Stephanie.
sometimes simple is easier. Just keep Excel or something simple and clean.
Yeah.
What I've done is I just put like I have my wallets in an Excel sheet,
Yeah.
and I put whatever's in there. But then I got to remember that if I move anything, I got to change it in the Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But oddly, it took me a long time to get to that point. But whatever. So I always want to ask, I'm like, how do people track these assets? Because you got multiple wallets, physical wallets, and multiple addresses, multiple tokens on multiple chains. How are you going to track it all? Well, you have to be organized. Otherwise, you're going to end up having one of those zombie wallets out there with all kind of stuff in it that it's not being taken care of. You know what I'm saying? So this gentleman Xblind wants to know your thoughts on MetaMask versus Aurochs. So, do you have any experience with the Aurochs wallet?
I don't have any experience with the RX wallet. I think you would probably be a better person at answering this question, but like I don't really have any thoughts on MetaMask versus RX. Like, if one works better for you, I think just choose whichever one you like the most, honestly. But
Sure. Yeah, I definitely have an opinion on the Aurochs wallet. Learned about it from Andy Hilarski. It's they're I think they're going public. It's a decentralized wallet. It doesn't hold your seed phrase in the wallet like MetaMask does. You can pre preview your transactions before you actually transact, and and you can see your assets in the wallet in itself. You can connect like very quickly. You can connect your wallet to the ICOSA DApp and see your stakes. Whereas with MetaMask, not it wasn't so easy for me, and the transactions are just much more easy on the Aurochs wallet. That's my opinion. So I'm definitely a proponent of it, and there is a link to the Aurochs wallet in the description of this video. Yep. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Oh, here we go. Fox says Aurochs destroys MetaMask. You actually get rewarded for using Aurochs. MetaMask gives you nothing. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Oh, gasless swaps is coming. Smart contract monitoring. Here's another one. You can't send to a contract address in the Aurochs wallet because it'll flag it. So it'll let you know, like,
Oh, okay.
you're sending to a contract address. You know how many times I've been transacting and I have an address on my clipboard, a contract address, and I'm sending stuff here and there, and it's very risky because you could end up sending assets to a contract address, and then those assets you'll never see them again.
Yeah, I've seen some people on like Twitter threads like commenting, "Hey, I sent all my funds to this contract address. When will I get my swap?" And I'm like, "Oh man,
That's a sad day.
that is a
Sad
sad
day.
day."
All right. Is this the Tetra address? I am not going to be able to answer that. I'm sorry. All right. Have you been participating in the auctions lately?
Uh, Here and there, yes, I have. Here and there
Okay.
for sure.
All right. Just want to have a look because I heard you on one of the streams mention that you'd been sniping some like really good deals.
Yeah, I got some 80-90% off HSIs recently.
Hot dog, man. So here's the ICOSA DApp. For everybody who doesn't know, um, the HSIs that get sent to the ICOSA buyback end up here. And in 90 days, they're available for liquidation. And we can liquidate these with headroom, which is just the minimum headroom that was advanced when the HSI was sent to the contract. So the bid starts very, very cheap. And I have heard Alex say that he's surprised how many people don't know about HSIs. And then we got whales that are dumping their headroom from their hex stakes. They're dumping their headroom instead of like participating in these auctions where look at these discounts. And this is on, let's see, what chain is this? I think this is the Ethereum. Yeah, this is the Ethereum chain. And the discounts on this hex is like, and granted, this is only a 1,000 hex stake, but a 97% discount. Let's look at a bigger one. 17,000 hex. The discount was 64%, 38% if you want to look at it from the ICOSA perspective. So pretty incredible discounts. And I'm happy for anybody that is sniping these deals. Pretty tremendous. I was able to get one. I got me one way back in the beginning, and I haven't gotten any since. But
I got lucky. I got like 10 at once basically for like 80-90% off. So
wow, that's good stuff. All right.
I saw a question here in the chat actually.
Sure.
X Blind Royalty says, how can you, in less than 10 seconds, if possible, determine if Icosa is a better buy over Hex and vice versa?
There you go.
So I would like to answer this question for you. The first thing I like to do is look at the chart. I'm going to share my screen here. So I'm not a charter or anything like that. Like I don't really like do a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
charting and stuff, but I can look at a chart and like figure out kind of what's going on. So here is the Icosa hex chart. Do you mind adding?
Oh yeah, there you go.
All right, so here is the Icosa hex chart. When you're looking at
Oh,
this on the
I'm
deck
sorry.
screener.
No, just a second. I added my screen. There you go.
Okay, so this is the Icosa hex chart on the deck screener. Make sure you switch the price in hex whenever you go ahead and look at this chart. So you have ceiling prices all the way up here. Most of us probably know what the ceiling price is. All it is just when there's an arbitrage opportunity that opens up to where you could make an HSI, swap it for Icosa, and then sell that Icosa for more than what the HSI was worth. Basically, if you're wondering in 10 seconds or less if Icosa is a better buy over Hex, if you can get an Icosa for less than 7 Hex or less than 8 Hex, less than even 6 Hex, that's sort of where the value is. So you can see here on this chart, you had this is on Ethereum, by the way, and the same process applies to the pulse chain sort of thing, but I think the pulse chain ratio has more support. So here you had a little wick down to 6. Like if you can pick that up around like 6 to 8, it's very good. And then here you had another wick down to like 4. That's how you know Icosa is a better buy over Hex, is when the prices of them become like super close to each other. Because what you'll see here is like even off of this bottom, like we've ran 200% against Hex in the past 60 days. So what that means is like if you decided to buy Icosa or Hex in the past 65 days, you are up 200% over your Hex, over buying Hex rather than like buying Icosa. So right now, like it's not terrible, but it's a little bit high over here at 10, but ceiling's all the way up here. So there really is an opportunity to like 3x your Hex stack in a way.
Right on. Nice. Okay, we're going to try to wrap this up in like 10 minutes or less. Do you have a favorite quote?
I like the quote that's on my Twitter. The compounding interest is I think it's like the eighth wonder of the world. I'll read
Yeah.
off the exact quote here. It's compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Albert Einstein.
Right on. You got a favorite book?
I like Sci-Vive or like Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like those are very good. I think those are both very good books. I still need to like finish up Sci-Vive because it's pretty long, but like I think Rich Dad Poor Dad has like very like I think it's one of those books that once you read it, it like opens up your mind a little, right?
Oh man. Yeah. Definitely. I read it probably 15 years ago and it's left an impact. Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Favorite channels? Favorite YouTube channels, YouTube influencers?
I like dollar cost crypto. And like just to mention some Icosa guys, like Crypto Sloth is great. I like Access Alive has good charts and stuff like that. Those are just few of the dudes. But like mostly all the Hexagon YouTubers, like all of them are pretty much great. So
Okay. All right. So next week, well, we think next week. Stephanie, did 9:30 your time work for Mike Waters next week?
Yep.
Okay.
9:30 my time though, not your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will double check with him. So he's going to be our next guest, and talked to him yesterday. And he is a real estate developer, kind of a big one, is my impression. And but he's also a token founder or a coin founder. I'm not sure, but he's what he is doing is tokenizing real estate. And I saw one of his presentations, and what he is literally letting the average homeowner do with their equity and their home is going to knock your socks off. So he's probably, I haven't talked to him much about this, but he's probably going to do a presentation on that. and then we want to query him on, the blockchain, how it's going to affect the real estate industry. So potentially next Thursday at 9:30, but you'll see that on the, we'll announce it on Twitter and Telegram. So if you have any interest in perhaps rotating profits into real estate, or if you're just curious about what Mike Waters is going to say about, what he's doing, and he has the token. Now he's also going to tell a story about what's happening with the SEC that he touched on with me yesterday, which is very interesting. So that should be fun, and potentially next week, but got to firm it up with him. And that's where Stephanie is going to be a little more lively, because you've been quiet in the background, understandably so. But I'm looking forward to when we visit with Mike, because I think you're going to be asking all the questions next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Colin, you got any final words?
Just thank you for having me on. This was a great stream. Hope chat learned something new. It's pretty
Absolutely.
much all.
I know I'm going to learn something new when I listen to it. It's good having you on, and you as well, Stephanie. You guys have a good day.
You guys too.
You
All right,
too.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
You bet.